What's up, guys? George Camel here, co-host of The Ramsey Show, and we are back with another loaded episode of the best of The Ramsey Show. And today we're talking about some stuff that might intimidate you, investing and retirement. And we're also going to answer your biggest questions on everything from the stock market to mutual funds, plus how to save for your dream retirement. Check this out.
Beverly's with us. Beverly's in Boise, Idaho. Hi, Beverly. How are you?
Hi, Dave.
Hi.
Hi, Ken. Thank you for taking my call.
Sure. What's up?
I have a very simple question for you. How much cash is too much cash to keep at home? And where would you put it? Where should you put it since the banks are only giving you 1%?
So you're a cash under the mattress woman, are you?
Uh-huh.
Maybe in some coffee cans buried in the backyard?
So how much cash do you want to keep at home?
Well, you always say pay cash for stuff. Well, obviously, you cannot go down to the car store and put $70,000 of cash on their desk. So
You cannot go down to the what store?
The automobile store.
And put $70,000 cash? Did you say 70?
Yeah.
You're buying a nice car.
To buy a new car. To buy a new truck.
You're buying a nice truck. All right. Well, I don't do that when I'm buying a $70,000 item. I wire it.
Okay.
I don't carry cash in. Now, if I'm negotiating with an individual for a used item, I might use the power of cash like we have taught and wave it under their nose and see if I can get a better deal. I've done that. I'm not above doing that. But I don't think I'm going to recommend Beverly walks down with a suitcase full of money like a drug dealer to a $70,000 car purchase. I'm just going to let you wire that money in.
So you would put the money in the bank
and wire it.
And get 1%.
Well, you're not getting anything in the bottom of your mattress.
That's true.
Yeah. So it's you know.
I know that.
It's not the 1%. It's I don't want you to get robbed. I don't want somebody to knock you in the head and take $70,000 out of your house. I don't have $70,000 in my house.
So that's just when you say you pay cash for stuff, you keep your money in a bank or a credit union or something, and then you wire it.
Yeah, and I wire it, and meaning I don't go into debt is what I mean when I pay cash. Now I have a pocket full of cash right now. I carry a money clip in my front pocket that's usually got $1,000 in it, but that just because I'm a redneck, I like having some money in my pocket,
right.
But that's just walking around money. And if I want to buy something or, most of what that wallet goes for is tips for, when I park a car or when I'm finish up playing a game of golf and a guy cleans my clubs, that kind of stuff.
Or when I come over and mow your lawn, you're
really
when
Ken
generous.
comes over and washes dishes for us, we give him a little tip. And
By the way, I want to point out, don't come to some live event and try to take money off of Dave because he's also got something else in his back pocket. I just think I should point that out. That could be a bad scenario for somebody trying to take your cash.
I'm not going to get robbed. It's okay. It's okay. Nobody wants to rob me. But I'm not really muggable. I'm just huggable. But but anyway, I don't walk around with a bunch of cash in that regard. When I say cash is king at the beginning of the show, it doesn't mean that Jesus isn't king. It means that cash has power, and paying for things rather than going into debt to get them is power. And so, I know a few people that keep $5,000 or $10,000 cash in a little safe in their house, just in case they, wanted to grab a hold of a little money for some reason or another on a short notice, and the ATM was jammed up or something. Then that's okay. But I don't believe in keeping $50,000, $100,000, $200,000. You're starting to get into the land of preppers and stuff like that then, and I'm not that guy. Steve is with us. Steve's in New York City. Hi, Steve. How are you?
Hey, Dave and John. Thanks for taking my call. Appreciate it.
Sure. What's up?
Recently retired, about a year now, 53 years old. I have my work retirement, but my mom had passed away about 18 months ago. We sold her house, and I inherited $150,000 that way.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's up to me to invest it through mutual funds, and not super duper comfortable with it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have some ideas,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know between regular mutual funds, tax deferred mutual funds.
Mm-hmm.
Do I go all in with the 150 or do I piecemeal it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
just
Do you have
stuff
any
like that.
debt?
Currently, just my one son's college. He's a senior.
How much do you owe on that?
We probably owe another $35,000 for him.
Okay. We need to set that aside, right?
Yeah, we have that, and we have some savings.
Okay. And so there's no debt associated with the college. You just have an obligation.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Do you have a home mortgage?
Not any longer. Nope.
Good for you. Good for you. Okay. Couple of things on investing. Let's start at the top. Number one, you don't invest in things that you don't understand. You never invest in things because some goob on the radio like me said do it, or some goob on the internet that's even worse said do it. Okay. So you understand it. The Bible says in the multitude of counsel there is safety, and what that means is you get some experts around you to give you advice, and the advice is not that you follow the expert. The advice is so that you understand something you didn't understand before. So your financial people need to have the heart of a teacher, so that when you sit down with your financial person and you get up and leave, you need to know something you didn't know before you sit down. Every time. Every time.
Okay.
I spent an hour and a half in my office yesterday with our chief digital officer and three of our top senior tech guys, and they were trying to teach me.
Oh, jeez. That's why you're in such a great mood today, man.
About our digital platform. And I do not have to be a digital expert to be the CEO of this digital company, but I do have to grasp the vernacular, and I do have to grasp enough of it to help them to make wise decisions under their help. So the multitude of counsel, these experts are in my office teaching me about my company yesterday. In this case, they're teaching you about your money that you inherited from the passing of your parent, right? And so you're going to gather that up. You do not have to have an MBA in finance in order to make easy financial decisions, basic investing decisions. Now, so rule number one is you don't do it unless you understand it. Rule number two is you put somebody in your life that has the heart of a teacher. You can click SmartVestor Pro at DaveRamsey.com or SmartVestor and find the person in your area we recommend. They don't work for us. They pay us an endorsement fee, and they have to agree to approach your investing the way that we teach and with the heart of a teacher. I personally invest, Steve, inside my retirement accounts in 4 types of mutual funds: growth, growth and income, aggressive growth, and international. Outside of retirement accounts, those funds all create taxes each year as they grow. That's a problem. There's 2 ways to avoid that with your $150,000. My preference is, and the one that I personally do, is I invest in mutual funds, growth stock mutual funds, that have what's called a low turnover ratio. Now, you ready for the teaching part?
Okay.
Here we go. If you buy a rental house for $200,000 and it goes up in value to $300,000 and you still own it, you do not owe taxes on that $100,000 in growth because you've not sold the house. Agreed?
Correct.
So you've got capital gains growth, but you don't have any taxes because you've not sold it. Stock is the same way. If a share of stock goes from $50 to $70, you don't pay taxes on that $20 gain until you sell it. Same is true inside a mutual fund. The turnover ratio is when they sell the stock inside the mutual fund. If it has a 90% turnover ratio, that means almost all the stocks get sold every year, and so all those gains are going to be taxable every year. If they have a 5%, if they have a 5% turnover ratio, which is a low turnover ratio, that means you're not going to pay taxes on the increase in value until you sell the mutual fund, because they aren't selling the stocks inside the mutual funds hardly at all. Much like that rental house or that share of stock. Did that make sense?
It definitely did. So that low turnover, what number am I looking at? Is it
under
really
10? You want an under 10% turnover ratio.
Under 10%. Okay.
Yeah, because anything that turns over, the gain is they're going to send you a tax bill on the gain. every year.
Every year, yes. Okay.
So you want it to not turn over hardly at all so that it only grows without taxes until you sell it. Now, if you hold it a year, when you sell it, you're going to be taxed at capital gains rate, 15%, rather than the ordinary income rate, 30%, 40%. Cynthia is with us. Cynthia is in Des Moines, Iowa. Hi, Cynthia. How are you?
Hi, Dave. Doing great. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
I just have a quick question. So I am hoping to get on to baby step 4 really soon.
Mm-hmm.
So my question is around baby step 4. I'm wanting to contribute about 15% to my 401k.
Great.
Hoping like this next paycheck or possibly in February.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm noticing that the market is, well, it's in the toilet. So should I really contribute at this time, or should I skip it and move on to like something else? Or
when I was a little kid, my mama would take us to a store called Kmart.
Yep.
And Kmart would, in the middle of the day, run these little sales. They called them blue light specials.
Blue light special.
They would turn on a blue light over the top of the whatever area, and you could go over there and get you a coffee pot on sale or whatever. That's what we're having right now, darling. This is called a blue light special. You need to buy while it's
on sale.
Buy while it's on sale.
Okay, so buy at the dip. Okay.
So you know why? How old are you?
I'm 40-ish.
Okay, 40-ish.
Own it. Own it.
I'm 61. I'm right proud of it. So there you go. But the so here's the thing. In 20 years, where do you think an average of companies that sound like this? Apple, Coca-Cola, McDonald's, Boeing, Microsoft, Home Depot, on average as a group, now there'll be one or two that fail, but on average as a group, an aggregate of that group, 20 years from now, are they going to be worth more or less?
Well, ideally more.
Well, not only ideally, there would be that's what has always happened in history 100% of the time so far in the American stock market's history. Now, obviously, the world can fall apart, and we can just blow this whole thing up called America. But if anything stays similar to what it is, 20 years from today, it's going to be up, and you will be glad that you bought in the cold winter of 2022 when the market was freezing to death and down because of whatever was going on out there.
I haven't even seen.
Always something going on.
How far down is it? I haven't even looked.
I dropped 500 points in one day the other day, but it's back and forth. Let me say out of 30,000. 500 points used to be a lot. It's not anymore. But yeah, it's Ukraine and Biden mumbling, and they can't. Nobody's got any idea that he's going to do anything, and so the market's just unstable. Yeah. Geopolitical crap always destabilizes the market. It always has. I mean, this little thing happens on the other side of the world, and boom, all of a sudden. Because people just have this little black cloud following them around on Wall Street.
Just waiting for the next bad thing.
Waiting on the next bad thing, and then they're psychological as it can be. But Bitcoin's in half. Oh, God! Who knew? Who knew that was going to happen? And so
anybody with investing wisdom of more than 8 to 10 years.
Yeah, that's true. But fairly easy predictor. But fairly, easy predictor. And this is just it is a geopolitical driven. It's not economic driven, and it's not profits. The profits of the companies involved have not changed. So are they suddenly worth less?
Right.
No, they're still worth what they were worth. Yeah. It's just they're scared they might be down in the future because of war with Russia or China or destabilization of the political environment, all that kind of crap. So do I think all that's going to happen? Nope. I think there's going to be problems, and there's going to be times when there's not problems, and the market's going to go up, and the market's going to go down. And only people get hurt on a roller coaster are those that jump off in the middle of the ride.
Bo in Dallas, Texas. Hey, Bo, welcome to the show.
Hi, appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. How can we help?
So I'm 23. I've been working a job for about 10 months out of college. Make good money, make about $78,000 a year. In a couple months, I should be getting a raise anywhere from 90 to 100.
Nice.
I've always been pretty good saving my money. For about the past 5 years, I've got about $20,000 in a Fidelity account, $15,000 in Bitcoin, which I know you guys are gonna, give me the wham face about. Maybe not, and then about $5,000 in a company 401k with a match. But my question is, I only have about $3,000 in my checking account, And in the inflationary environment we're in, I'm losing my purchasing power every day, just keeping the money in my checking account. And, I'm 23, single, don't really think I need to save up for a house in this crazy housing market. Should I be concerned about having this low amount of cash in my checking account? If an emergency comes up, I could just, sell some of my stock or some of my Bitcoin. So that's kind of my question. Should I, keep my cash balance low and keep the aggressive investing up, or maybe, try and beef up that checking account?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question. I always answer these questions that if I woke up in your shoes. And for me, having liquid cash just to get where there's no strings attached, there's no hoops I have to jump through, hurdles I have to get over, that I can just literally get it right now if I needed it, gives me a sense of peace. And if there's something that happens that you have to have cash, having something just available that's not tied up in investments or even Bitcoin, I really do recommend. So that's kind of our 3 to 6 months worth of expenses when we talk about baby step 3. Do you have any debt at all, or are you completely debt free?
No, I'm debt free. I was lucky enough I didn't have to pay for college.
That's
and
awesome.
That would be, my only big expense. So yeah, I'm debt free.
Very cool. Well, you're doing an incredible job, Bo.
Yeah.
I mean, the questions you're asking at 23 it's impressive. So
Sharp guy.
if I were you, yeah, I would have some money, and you can even start saving for it now if you want, and just saying, hey, I'm on baby step 3, and then start saving for that fully funded emergency fund. You could do that because if you love this other stuff that you have your money in, but I would probably just cash out one of those investments, probably the Bitcoin. I know you're not shocked that I'm going to say that.
It's not doing great anyways, Bo. Let's be honest.
Yeah, thank you.
But here's what I'm thinking. Why can't you do both? Why not have a fully funded emergency fund and be investing? So I think right now your next goal should be to beef up your savings, leave that money in checking, and create a 3 to 6 months expenses savings account, and then you can begin investing 15%. Beyond that, start saving up for a house. Was that your next goal?
Yeah, I think eventually that's the route I want to go to. My one thing with that is I know, investing at a young age is so much more important than investing later on.
Yeah.
And with the market taking such a big hit right now, I think, it's just such a great opportunity to keep, really aggressively investing at this age.
Yeah, and it is. So, and I even love the framework that you have when it comes to the market, because a lot of people are panicked and freaked out and they don't want to put money in. When you're in a position that you're in with no debt and you have, soon an emergency fund, that's where the perfect time to be investing aggressively. So yeah, you're exactly on the right track, Bo. I don't think that you're going to go wrong anywhere here. I would though have some money liquid just in case something happens, you're able to get to it quickly.
And to your question, Bo, you were saying that the liquid cash scares you because it's not beating inflation. But the purpose of the emergency fund is not to be an investment. It's insurance. And so insurance protects what you're trying to build. And so I'm totally okay with your emergency fund not being invested and just sitting in a boring savings account making you 1%. I'm totally good with that because when an emergency hits, I don't want you dipping into your investment accounts to cover that. I want you to cover that with your emergency fund. That's what it's there for. So I like keeping things neat and tidy and separate so that no one gets confused here. And to your question of investing aggressively, you're going to be a multimillionaire just based on the numbers you told me. If you don't let lifestyle creep into your life as you get this raise, you keep living on less than you make, you invest. I also know there's other goals. It's not all about investing. You have to live your life. You've got to go on vacations. You're going to want to upgrade the car. You're going to want to buy a house. So balance it a little bit. I can tell with young investors, Rachel, which I love.
I know.
They tend to get real tunnel vision when it comes to investing, and that's all they think about.
Well, and it's a good point and it's easy to because you see the math and like what he said. He's like, I know investing early on is so much better because you see compound interest. So you see the math, you see the dollar signs in your eyes. You're like, heck, why would I do anything else except for put money in because of what it could do with compound interest? But you don't factor in life into the equation. And who knows, Bo, you can meet a girl tomorrow and you kind of
Could happen.
fall in love and you're going to want an engagement ring. You know what I'm saying? Like anything can happen in life, and having money there is huge, and having it as part of your life strategy, knowing that, yes, while investing is exciting and the earlier you start, the better off you're going to be, all of that. But there's also life.
And with the numbers you shared, Bo, I'm seeing a lot of what I assume is single stocks in the Fidelity account potentially, and Bitcoin, and a little bit in the 401k. I would flip-flop that and lean into the 401k, invest in good growth stock mutual funds. And then if you want to play with some crypto or single stocks on the side, that's fine. But I don't want it to be a large portion of your net worth because they are way more volatile than your mutual funds.
Yeah, when your whole retirement if all of your retirement is in Bitcoin, which I know Bo's isn't, but that's not a great plan. Not a great plan.
Agreed.
Mary is with us. Mary is in Los Angeles. Hi, Mary. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Thank you for taking my call. I appreciate your time.
Sure.
We're a little concerned about our situation. My husband and I are retired. We're 65. We receive pension and Social Security. We have a mortgage of probably $400 and maybe $50,000-$60,000 on our home. We have an income after taxes of about $8,370 per month. We do pay a lot out for our bills. We have one major bill that's $28,000. We have a balance of about $10,000 on a car, and that's all our debt.
You don't have any nest egg.
We have a $55,000 in the bank and about $41,000 in the $457 between the two of us.
Okay. And write a check today and pay off your car.
Okay. But we don't want to keep that car.
Then sell that car today.
Okay.
You need to get rid of the debt.
Okay.
Okay, that's first thing. That's a quick one, easy one, quick win. All right. And so what's your house payment?
$2,400.
Okay.
With taxes and everything.
Okay. All right. A little high, but not a deal breaker. Out of $8,300, you can pay $2,400 out of $8,370, and that leaves you $6,000 a month to live on. You are in Los Angeles, so you have a high cost of living. But once we wrote that check, we've got housing covered, which is your big dog. If you've got no other debts, because we just started paying them off, and you have $6,000 a month to live on, you can't live on that with a budget? I think you can, even in L.A.
But I have the $28,000 bill.
What's that on?
We consolidated a lot of bills, and we did one at 0% interest on a credit card.
Okay.
Until late next year.
Okay. So you need to pay that off too.
Okay.
So if you sell the car, what are you going to be driving?
We have one other vehicle.
Okay. So if you sell the car and got rid of that debt and you wrote a check and paid that off, it gets rid of a bunch of your cash, but you got all this stuff hanging over your head. I'm feeling the stress in your voice from these debts.
Yes.
And I want to set you free from those debts, and then you can start to live on a budget, and you can actually save money in this situation. Of course, the other option is you could add income to the equation if you guys chose to have an encore career. You're just 65. I'm 61, and I feel fine. You're going to be all right. John's in Kansas City. Hey, John, welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you taking the call.
Sure. How can we help?
My wife and I pastor a small church, and we've been FPU coordinators and have trained other people in that.
Thank you.
Matter of fact, I'm not saying this for accolades, but every time we marry someone, we give them a copy of the Total Money Makeover and write a note in there to follow the biblical principles that are in this book. And many of them have gotten debt-free. My issue today is I'm 66. I don't have much money saved for retirement. We don't make a lot of money. Like I said, we pastor a small church, and there's been times we've had to skip taking a paycheck, that kind of thing. My wife does work outside the home, and we're both receiving Social Security now. So it supplements our income. But I don't have a lot of money saved. I'm just concerned about, we're going to have enough money to live on when it's all said and done. We're debt-free except for our house. We don't owe a lot of money on that.
What do you owe on the house?
$85,000 on the house.
Okay.
And it's worth $600.
And how much nest egg have you got?
About $35,000. Yes.
Okay. All right. And what's your household income these days?
We're about $70,000, including everything.
Okay. And are both of you planning to stay in the same work situation for the next few years?
Yes. Yeah, I plan to stay here. It's not a career choice with me. It's actually a calling, and
I appreciate that.
Otherwise, I might have had something that had a better look for something that had a better pay package, but it's really not about that. It's about ministering to people. And,
absolutely.
And this is just where I'm at.
You have a great heart. And so, what I would tell you is I got 2 goals for you in 5 years.
Perfect. I'm ready for you.
Get the house paid off and put $100,000 in mutual funds.
Okay.
Still not going to be enough. Still not going to be enough. But, but you'll be 71, and you'd have 170, approaching $200,000 in there with the growth of the 35 if it's in mutual funds. And so you'd be approaching $200,000 and a paid-for $600,000 house. If you can't make it, at least we know you could sell the house and move to a $400,000 house.
Well, absolutely, yeah. We've considered that.
I wouldn't do it today, but that's your fallback plan. But if you could get the house paid off and put $200 away, I think you could make it.
Well, we're fast tracking the house. We're paying an additional $1,800 a month against the principal, and it looks to pay out in 2.5 years.
That's perfect.
And
meanwhile, you got to do more than that in addition into retirement, because I need to get 100 in 5 years. That's $20,000. That's another $1,500. That's another $1,800 a month.
Okay, so I need to be putting another $1,800 away into the.
I just made that number up, Pastor. I mean, I just made it up. It's not a trick number. I just was looking at a $70,000 income, and I thought, how much can we squeeze out of this turnip? Okay. And I'm thinking there's no magic to it. I mean, if I could have you have $1 million when you retired, I'd do it, but I don't see that in the numbers. I'm trying to do something where you can eat and still pull this off and get some margin between you and the wolf.
Okay.
And so
that's reasonable.
So if you saved $1,800, that'd be $20,000. You did that for 5 years, that'd be $100,000. Plus, it will grow some during that. Plus, your 35 will grow some during that. So that'll bump you pretty close to $200.
Okay.
In your mutual funds, and then you'd have a paid-for $600,000 house. You're almost a millionaire at that point.
Wow, I never thought about it like that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, that's 5 more years of working like you're working now. Her too.
Okay, perfect. Well, I just need to get a hold of one of your ELPs and help me with the Roth thing. I don't quite understand all of that. So
jump on SmartVestor at RamseySolutions.com, and thank you for your heart and your service. And we were just talking about that a minute ago with parsonages. It's a little different subject, but gentle, big heart, call a God on his life without a doubt.
And he's staring down the barrel of retirement. He's got $30,000 in the bank.
Yeah.
All right. Luckily, he's got a house. He's got a great house.
Got to do
situation.
something about it. And good news is he can do something about it still. It's not going to be fancy, but he can do something about it. Right. So the house may end up being the answer before it's over, but hopefully not. Hopefully we can work it through without selling it if they don't want to sell it. Yeah. But he even held that with an open hand. You hear that?
Yep.
This guy's spiritual maturity is amazing.
Hey, if you enjoyed this episode, which I gotta assume you did because you're still watching, then go ahead and click on the next episode all about money and relationships. Things are about to get spicy. Check it out.